I'm sorry. Well, we were in a little rush this morning. Hi, I'm Barbara. It's 9/11/2020. Pearl and Dennis are on their way to the vet to have her leg checked, and so I rushed out of the bedroom and, oh, that's a leaf, not my hair. And I forgot my earrings. I'm sorry. Maisie is running back and forth. She'll be here. I'm sure she'll be here soon. She's running back and forth because the protocol for walks is that she gets her harness on first. We call them handles. She gets her harness on first, and then Pearl gets her harness. But Dennis takes Pearl out to the car, and Maisie waits patiently in the mudroom, most days patiently, till Dennis comes and gets her and puts her in the car second. I don't walk a dog usually out of the house down the 2 steps in the garage that broke my knee in the first place. So Dennis broke protocol because he didn't put Maisie's handle on, and then he took Pearl and he didn't come back. So now she's all upset because she's waiting patiently and he's not coming, and then she started banging on the door like, I'm not patient anymore. Maisie, come on, pup. Come here, come here, come here. Yeah, tell everybody how bad things are and how you got ripped off because Pearl got to go in the car and you didn't. She's all discombobulated. Oops. Oh. So it's actually a pretty nice day today. Beautiful, actually. It's a little, you know, partly cloudy, but otherwise gorgeous. It rained last night. It's cool. It doesn't feel very humid, so that's nice. 9/11 is always a day to think about things. 9/11 is one of those days, you know, like, what were you doing when you heard kind of days. Dennis and I were driving back east. We had been living in Seattle for 2 years, and we had a dog, Sandy, our first dog together. And so we drove back. We drove out when we moved there, and we drove back when we moved home because we didn't want to put Sandy on an airplane. They would have shipped our car. In fact, they shipped one of our cars, but we didn't want Sandy to have to be put on an airplane, so we drove back, and we don't mind driving. We called it our canyon tour because we left Seattle and went southeast and ended up mostly southeast, and we ended up in Idaho. And so we went to the Salmon River Canyon, and then the Snake River Canyon in Idaho, and then we went south from there through Utah, and we went to Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park and the Grand Canyon, and came across the southern route home. We spent a couple days in Sedona with the vortices and the beautiful scenery, and then we came across, you know, Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, the panhandle of Texas. And on September 11th, we were on the penultimate day of our trip, and driving through Tennessee and Kentucky into Virginia. And we were listening to books on tape. We were listening to Pride and Prejudice on our car sound system. And I had noticed that there were flags at half-staff and wondered what had happened. And we decided to stop. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We decided to stop in Winchester, Virginia. And we stopped at a, you know, highway side hotel, a Days Inn or something like that. It was a It was a hotel that had an actual had a restaurant in the motel, so it was, you know, a bigger one than whatever. Quit sniffing my armpit. Yeah, there's my girl. Yeah, I know. It's weird. So we got there about 4 o'clock and we checked in, and you know, we were sitting there and we were thinking, you know, what do you want to do? I said, you want to wander around downtown a little bit? And Dennis was like, no. I said, okay, well, why don't we put on the TV and maybe we can see why the flags are at half-staff. So we were in Virginia, and so we turn on, and there's the news right there talking about a plane that hit the Pentagon, because we're in Virginia, and that's the local part of the story. And, you know, we're like, wow, that's really crazy. And, you know, but in my mind, I'm picturing like a Cessna. And, which is a little private plane. And, you know, the more we hear, because you come into the middle of the story and they assume you know what they're talking about, and we didn't really. And so we're listening, and we must have been watching for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. And then the chyron at the bottom said something about the Twin Towers in New York. And we're like, what? So we changed the channel and got a national news story, which then told us the story of the Twin Towers. And, you know, by then, both the towers were down. They had footage from people who had, you know, and so that's how we found out. It was 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon by the time we, you know, by then more of the picture was known. But it was really interesting that we didn't know about the Twin Towers for 20 minutes at least, maybe more, of watching the story on that Virginia station. So we stayed up till 1 o'clock watching TV. We went to the restaurant and you know, we didn't go anywhere. And we were moving, and so we had bought this house. I was working long distance from Washington State to my job in New Jersey. And this house is closer to Dennis's work, and that's why I had the long commute. When we first got married, he moved in with me and the kids, and so we were closer to my job, and he had a horrible commute. At least my commute was against traffic, which made a big difference. So Dennis hadn't seen this house until the weekend we made settlement on it, but that had been in April. So we had already owned this house for a few months, and but the movers weren't scheduled to bring our furniture for a couple days. I'm not sure the sequence of events. But anyway, we did not have high-speed internet, which I was told we could have, that the cable company provided high-speed internet. It didn't. So we got here and there was no internet. We only had dial-up, literally dial-up. And on a terribly outdated telephone node, so terrible dial-up. And so we got here, and so we had TV and we had cable, so, you know, we were watching the news, so, you know, and shortly after, within a day or two of 9/11, the anthrax thing started. We haven't talked about the anthrax thing in a long time, but the anthrax thing started. So we had 24/7 cable news of 9/11 and anthrax for the first month. I think it was until December that we actually got high-speed internet, and I was able to actually work well, because I was working from home 2 days a week, and it was terrible. But anyway, that's my 9/11 story. Everybody has one. So we didn't know. And so we drove up We left Winchester on the 12th and stopped in Harrisburg to see Dennis's grandmother. She was living in a nursing home at the time, and she said, "Oh, something happened." I was like, "Yeah, Grandma, something happened." And so we moved into our house on September 12th, 2001. Easy to remember the date we moved in. So there's my 9/11 story. We didn't have any idea what was going on for hours and hours. Those first few months in this house were tough. Too much news. Sometimes too much news. So anyway, I did my stuff yesterday that I was supposed to do. And a DEXA scan literally takes 5 minutes. I mean, and because of my sundress I was wearing and my bralette I was wearing, nothing I was wearing had any metal on it, and so I didn't even have to change. So that was nice. The dress turned out not to be the best idea for physical therapy, however. So I'm laying on the bed and she's lifting my legs and I'm like flashing everybody. I'm like, I don't care. I guess when you get old, you get immodest. I don't know. I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. Those people don't care to see my underwear. So that was that. But I got 3 exercises that I have to do twice a day, which I haven't done yet. I have to do them in the bedroom because one of them I have to do off the edge of the bed laying down. So I will be doing those twice a day, and I will be a very good patient. I have my next physical therapy sessions scheduled. I'm going again on Monday afternoon. Very nice young lady. She didn't think it was a torn meniscus. She thought it was arthritis and swelling, based mainly on the fact that I don't have any pain when you touch my knee. Like pressure on my knee, I don't have any pain at all. But I do have swelling, and she thought it would be the arthritis and the swelling. I don't know. I said, but you know, I've had arthritis for a long time, so why all of a sudden? And she's like, well, something could just, you know, get out of whack a little bit. Not exactly the same words she used, but whatever, you know what I mean. So anyway, so I did that, and in between I went to the bookstore, and I don't have my glasses on, but I think that'll be okay. So I bought 2 books. I could not find the actual book I was listening to, and I think I might try to like see if PAL Books or some online, not Amazon bookstore has it, that I can actually get that book too if I want to. But I got this, A Little Bit of Meditation by Amy Lee Mercury. And it's just an introduction. It's tiny. It wasn't expensive. It's a tiny introduction to meditation, and I'm this far. I don't have my glasses on, so I don't know what page number it is. But she starts out by, you know, defining what meditation is and talking a little bit about the history of meditation and different kinds of meditation, and eventually we're going to get to, you know, some practical applications of how to do it. And so there's one kind of meditation that they call mindfulness, which seems to be what a lot of people are talking about these days, which works for me. Whatever, you know, works to kind of help. Yeah, I think calming my mind and being more mindful will solve my problem in terms of helping me sleep and maybe... Oh, I hear the phone and Dennis isn't here. I got me a new warranty on my car. I don't think so. Oh, I was talking about the books. So anyway, I think mindfulness is, you know, it's certainly something I think that I can do on my own by reading and thinking about it and maybe find some videos. I don't know. But anyway, I read the introduction to this book, and she mentions that mindfulness, that the meditation that people are calling mindfulness was brought to the West, not brought to the West, but a big proponent of it is a man named John Kabat-Zinn, and he's the one who really got people thinking about it in the West and whatever. So anyway, I thought, well, let me go see if he wrote a book, and he did, called Mindfulness for Beginners, which sounds perfect, and it includes a CD, which I have not listened to. I mean, I just got it yesterday. So I decided to buy his book too. It also was not too much. It was about the same price as the list price for that novella. I think it was $15 with the CD, and this one was $10. So if you want to know what I think is not too bad of a price, it's a tiny little hardback book. So I started reading those. I listened to more of my other book last night, and I was tired earlier yesterday. I only watched a couple frosts. Got tired of doing my cross stitch, although I did start on the face of my giraffe. And so I went up to bed, and I read my meditation book, and read the history of meditation and something about the different kinds of meditations. And went to bed early. I woke up at 1:30. It's like I have an alarm clock on my body. If I fall asleep early, I wake up at 1:30, which is about when Dennis brings the dogs. I was awake for an hour or two in the middle of the night, which is not unusual. And then I slept pretty well until our alarm clock went off, i.e. our phone rang at 9:30. We've been getting phone calls every morning at 9:30. Which was actually worked out good, because we had the appointment at 11, and apparently Dennis and I were both sleeping. I've been going to bed too late, not last night, and so I've been sleeping late. So anyway, so I had an okay night's sleep. My knee isn't bothering me too much. I'll be doing my exercises shortly. Maybe I'll do my exercises while my video renders. And I'm not planning on going, I was going to say I'm not planning on going anywhere today, but I am, because I also found my iron. I found my iron because I was putting together my packages. I gathered my stuff from my packages, so I will be writing notes and addresses and going to the post office later today. That will be my outing. Before the post office closes, I will be sending packages. And then I can cross those things off my list, and I can find my iron off my list, because in the process of arranging my packages, I did a little straightening and uncovered my iron. So I'm hardly going to have anything left on that list when I finish my day today, so I'll probably have to start a new list. I should start a new list on my list. I already talked about that. So I will be going out today, but that will be the going out I do, because I've been busy the last 2 days. I don't normally go out 2 days in a row these days, so that's my plan, a quiet day. Guess what came finally in the mail? So I got my Dragons of Sumatra. Take it out of the package because it's a little bit shiny. Cross stitch pattern. Isn't that cool? Well, turns out that this is only about 17 inches by 12 inches. So this is not a huge thing. I don't know if you can see, here's it looks very complicated and whatever. It is not, because there's only one stitch. It uses a cross stitch, and there's only one color of thread, of floss in this pattern. And so there are no symbols. There are just X's or dots in the squares that you're supposed to do your cross stitch. So it is actually quite straightforward, and I think it's going to be a fun pattern to cross stitch, because you don't have to think about too much. Just put a cross where it says, period, end of story. Don't think about the color, don't think about the kind of stitch or whatever. So So I ended up ordering some linen for this from 1-2-3 Stitches, and I ordered some needles and I had to look up needles. There are different sizes of needles, tapestry needles for cross stitch, and I couldn't, and I didn't know the relationship between the needle size and the fabric size, so I looked that up, and so I got some needles, some good quality needles. So I have linen and needles coming. They're supposed to come on Monday, which is nice. And then I will be able to start my Dragons of Sumatra. So that's exciting. So I have 3 cross stitches that I want to be cross stitching. I did take Ella's boxy with me on my travels yesterday, and I knit on that a little bit while I was waiting to go in for my DEXA scan. So I've done a little bit of knitting, and I've done cross stitching. I'm on the face of the giraffe and enjoying that still, and so things are going well. So my plan today is to cross stitch. I might do some knitting. I have packages to mail, and I'm going to do that, and probably not much else because, oh, and my exercises. So those are my plans for today. So since the phone rang, now I don't know how long I've been talking, but I think it's been quite a while. And I will think about 9/11 and the ramifications for the world about that day 19 years ago. And all that has happened as a result of that. So it won't be a cheerful day, but don't want to forget. You gotta pay attention to the big events of the world, and I think when all is said and done, an objective analysis of the results of that action will show that it had a huge impact on the United States, which also had a huge impact in many places around the world. And I don't think much of it was for the better, and it's a shame. And something to think about. So I will, on that sad note, but I will be reading my meditation today. That will help me, I think. And maybe it will help you. Oh, and I forgot to apologize for being up so late yesterday. My video went up really late yesterday because shortly after I recorded, I went in to get organized to edit, and Dennis came downstairs and said our internet just went out. And so I was able to edit because I do that locally, but I couldn't upload. And he, so I left the house about 12:15. I ran over to the in-laws. I took my laptop. I launched my upload, but their internet is way slower than my internet by a lot, apparently, because I went and did all my stuff, and I didn't get back to their house till 4:15, and I think the video had just arrived on YouTube by that point. When I called Dennis to ask him if it was up, while I was on my way to my in-laws, he said no, he didn't see it. So I think it was only up 10 minutes by the time I got to their house, but it was up. So it was up late because of technical difficulties. While I was gone, Dennis was able to figure out what the heck went wrong with our system. Our system is really complicated. And I can tell you right now, if we didn't have high-speed internet, this would not be, vlogging every day would not be a thing, would it, puppy? Would it? No, it would not. I know, it's just us. Isn't it weird? Would not be a thing, because OMG. If it took me 4 hours every day to upload. And yesterday's video was shorter than this is going to be. So, luckily we have high-speed internet. And Dennis figured it out. And so, this should go up normally. And I think it's kind of long, so I'm sorry for that. So, I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good day. And I hope you're well. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Stay safe and stay sane.